With experience bombing 2 of the Titans, I figure I've got enough numbers to work with. If you've ever been curious about how to build a ship or a wing for the Titan, this video is for you. Let's get right into it. While this is not a bombing guide, we will need to briefly cover the bombing flowchart. Step 1, get to the Titan through your 40 million interdictions. Step 2, drive through the giant fart cloud with generators and interceptors in it. Step 3, drive through the biggest brap you've ever heard in your life. Step 4, drive to the asteroid field. It's our mildly safe zone and we use it for staging runs. Do watch out, it has caustic mines in it, but it's generally where you can go if you need to lose an interceptor. And sometimes it has NPCs in it. They'll toss a limpet your way. We are now at the Titan. It has a round side and a spiky side. The round side has 8 vents, and the spiky side is where the core comes out. So for a bomb run, you need to, step 1, fly around the Titan and hit as many vents as you can with your nani torpedo. Step 2, flip to the other side, hit the core until it retracts. And step 3, boost up to the mildly safe zone to avoid the blue donut and begin staging for your next run. The core emerges for a maximum of 35 seconds, counting from when the top of the core passes the tops of the spires. During this time, you can damage the core with your AX weaponry, but the enhanced AX missile racks seem to be the best at the time of writing. Each missile rack can do about 10% per bomb run with full exposure. This is independent of damage resistance. Yes, your rewards change, and this is likely due to effective damage on the Titan, but the core damage in instance doesn't seem to change. So this brings us to a number of conclusions. Number 1, DPS is not so important as efficiency. If you have torps but no missiles, you have to go back. You have missiles but no torps, you have to go back. No heat sinks, go back. Number 2, you need roughly 10 EAXMR to 100% the core. No ship has 11 hardpoints, so wings are essential if you want to 100% the core. But it makes bombing easier anyway, so let's operate under the assumption that you have friends. Our objective is to do the most damage over a loadout in the least time. Because getting in system, dealing with interdictions, flying through the fart cloud, this is all stuff that isn't damaging the core. So we want to do that as few times as possible. Our loadouts have a max damage potential, so we want to use all that in the fewest runs, which means we'll need to destroy all 8 vents to expose the core for the longest time. With these 2 assumptions, we can get to building. The torpedoes and missile racks do not come in class 1, so we'll be basing calculations on the medium hardpoints. We also need builds that can comfortably stay below 20% heat, so we don't anger the Titan or its boyfriends. We will also be restricting ourselves to 3 boyfriends, since wings are a max of 4 commanders. This means we want a minimum of 11 hardpoints over 4 ships, so that we can 100% the core each time. So to make a functioning bomber, you need at least one caustic heatsink. This will get you through the fart cloud. 2, Thargoid pulse neutralizer. This will get you through the giant brap. Number 3, a nanite torpedo, but this can be omitted if one of your wingmates is going to do the actual torpedo bombing. And number 4, you'll need some enhanced AX missile racks. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to assume you are not going to synth AX ammo for human missile racks, so you will be capped at 6 EAXMR. Again, make sure you are engineered to stay below 20% heat. Otherwise, you're going to spawn in a ton of bugs, muck the alert status. It's just not a good time. Depending on your build, you'll probably wind up using 1 heatsink per attack run. Let's look at the weapons. Luckily, Utep was super lazy when doing ammo count with these weapons, and I swear they must have just left the ammo at the default power of 2 value. Larges have double the max ammo capacity of mediums. No huge class weapons exist, so we can consider huge hardpoints to be additional larges. Now, we have all the pieces we need. 1 medium torp is 8 runs. 1 enhanced heatsink is 5 runs. And 10 medium hardpoints is 100% core damage. This is based on my guesstimates for the hard HP. About 24 rockets per hardpoint will 100% the core. As always, let's do an example. For the sake of this video, we will consider 3 types of bombers. We have the heavy bomber, which carries a 3-eye nanite torpedo, the light bomber, which carries a 2-eye nanite torpedo, and a strike bomber, which has no torpedoes, no pizza, just pineapple. The Krait 2 seems super popular, so let's take a look at it. It has 5 hardpoints, 3 large, 2 medium, and 2 effective utility slots. If we consider it as a heavy bomber, it has enough torpedoes to do 16 runs. Of those runs, 5 will be run with all 4 racks firing. After 5 runs, your mediums run out of ammo, and you're left with 2 racks firing for 6 runs. Of these 11 runs total, 10 will be done under cover of heatsink, and you'll end the show with some 68 torpedoes left in the tank if you only do cold runs. Efficiency is just how much damage you can do cold versus how much you can't, and the weighted efficiency measures this against your torpedo usage. And it looks like we come out to about 58% efficiency. Question is, can we do better? Well, we can try to run it as a light bomber. This will put us down to 8 runs. All of these will be done with heatsink coverage. Again, after 5 runs, your mediums will run out of ammo, and you'll be left with 3 racks firing for the remaining 3 runs. It's less efficient on heatsink coverage since you'll have 3 runs worth of racks remaining, but more efficient when counted against your torpedo runs, since you do comparable damage to the heavy bomber, but in 3 fewer runs. So overall efficiency of 76%, much better than as a solo heavy bomber. We can perform these calculations on all ships, and you know it, I have done that. Here I have calculated every ship as a heavy bomber, a light bomber, or as a dedicated strike ship. You may notice that some ships are missing. This is because those ships do not have any medium hardpoints and are thus considered invalid for Titan bombing. Cold damage is how much damage you can do under heatsink coverage. I've also made a sheet where you can select your ships and wings, select roles, and there you go. How many runs you can do 100%ing the core each time, and the efficiency of the loadout. So here we have the Waifu Squadron loadout of 2 light bomber Kraits and a strike T10 and a DBX. You can see that we get pretty close to 100% efficiency. 95% is excellent. Put your wing in, see what you get. I'm interested in seeing your wings and their efficiencies in the comments. Some considerations to keep in mind. Number 1, if you have fewer than 10 guns, fire all guns. Forget about the calculator. Number 2, if you plan to run TV beams in your loadouts, you can just select ignore HS, and the calculator won't factor your heat sinks into the calculator. If you don't want to use the loadouts, I'll put in where every medium hardpoint or larger is dedicated to AXMR or torps. You can put your own values into the custom calculator. It'll perform the same calculations. The main thing to watch out for is that it gives you a hardpoint setup, so you may have to coordinate fire groups with your comrades. Other than that, this concludes the main presentation. I hope you find this tool useful. Of course, it will be linked in the description. The Krait is looking like the best medium for Titan bombing, so I'll tack in 2 Krait builds here to get you started. One with TV beams, one without. Just remember to turn off priority 5 modules when you get into the asteroids. But if you can't stick around for a few, I do have some extra things I wanted to talk about. This section is for anything I thought wasn't worth its own video, but was worth mentioning. Be careful when flying in wings. UFDev netcode is not the best, shall we say. Verify that you see each other's ships and not wing signals as you head into the Titan. We've had some weird happenings where we were in a wing. My friend could ram me for damage, but I saw neither him nor his wing signal. And the other thing is coordinate your runs. 2 bombers is more than enough. Either start next to each other and fly in opposite directions around the Titan and hit 4 each, or start on opposite sides and go in the same direction. This way you can also cover each other's vent if you accidentally miss one. Communication is key. What about intercepting the Glaiven Cyclops? Now, with what I know about the Titans, I cannot recommend running a dedicated fighter role. I'm sure you could easily destroy the interceptors. The problem is you'll probably run hot and spook the Titan. If you raise its alert state, it makes bombing way more difficult than it needs to be. You can just de-aggro the interceptors if they come after you. The idea of a fighter role is super cool, but in my humble opinion, it's simply not in the cards here. PSA, the Mamba. Now I've seen this build floating around of a shielded Mamba with turreted Healy beams. The guy has changed the build a few times. I remember at one point it only had torpedoes as a dedicated AX weapon. Anyway, the PSA is I must advise against building this particular Mamba. I like the Mamba, you like the Mamba, we all like the Mamba. But this build is simply not it. It has unnecessary LA grade on the concordant sequence. Even if you're doing this meme with the shields, you don't need to target your friend 6k away. It has 2 caustic launchers. You only need 1, bro. Especially in the Mamba. Like, it's fast. And it's shielded, which is completely unnecessary. The creator poses it as a wing fighter, but even in that context, I don't know. The benefit the Mamba has over the Krait are utility slots, which as far as Titans go is just heat sinks. I feel that for Titan bombing in wings, your priority should be hardpoint count, and the Krait's 5 to the Mamba's 3 is way more important. I think that's everything. If there's something I forgot to mention, something you wish I had covered, or if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. Other than that, thank you for watching.